Welcome to the Scalr Sagecast, bite-sized wisdom for ambitious business minds.
This is Scalr Sagecast. My name is Matt Woodard, and welcome to our very first episode. Scalr is a talent and advisory business. I established it last year after nearly 20 years in a variety of fast-paced scaling businesses. Like a lot of people embracing the solopreneur life, I'm eager to continue my development and growth. So the aim of this podcast is to delve into the journeys of seasoned business leaders. Through their triumphs and setbacks, they've acquired invaluable wisdom we can all learn from. So prepare to be inspired and equipped with practical insights. So today's guest is Mark Armstrong. Hi, Mark. Mark is a serial entrepreneur, started his first business in 2003. Now, having spent nearly 30 years in property, he's started his new adventure, MyIncentive. Mark, welcome. Tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I've worked for myself since about the age of 19 or 20. I've always sort of run my own businesses. I actually bought my first investment property at the age of 18, and bought another one when I was a year later when I was 19 with my brother. It was a bit easier back then. You didn't need to have such a large deposit, 30 years ago. And then my brother and I, we started a building development company, and did that for around 5 years. When I was 25 to 30, I think we ran the building development company. And I guess we learned a hell of a lot during that process. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned how to negotiate, and I learned how to, put together contracts. There was a lot that we learned during that process about the property market. And I really didn't want to be a property developer anymore. It's a really tough gig. So I pivoted at that stage to property advisory and formed a company called Armstrong Property Planning that turned into Property Planning Australia. And the aim of that was really to get all of that. I did an accounting degree at that time. I actually didn't finish high school. I dropped out of high school at the end of year 11, traveled the world for 3 years, when I was 21 or 22 or so. Came back, did an accounting degree, and then had all this knowledge and all this information and formed Property Planning Australia. And I would have helped people buy and sell over 1,000 properties over the years, mainly through the inner suburbs of Melbourne, a little bit in Sydney and a little bit in Brisbane. And then through that process, I think we realised that a lot of people in the market were flying blind when it came to transacting real estate, when it came to selecting a real estate agent. So through necessity, I developed another business called Rate My Agent. And Rate My Agent was a real estate agent review platform, or still is a real estate agent review platform. Mate, that was a journey. We launched it in 2014. It took off, which is a great thing to experience, but I couldn't say I knew what I was doing. It just took off like a rocket. We listed on the Australian Stock Exchange 4 years later, in 2018. We launched into the US market around that time, 2018, 2019. And today, Rate My Agent is the biggest real estate agent review platform in Australia, New Zealand, and very close, if not now, the biggest in the USA as well.
Did you see it having the impact it would? It did. Was this something that you could really see there was a real niche in the market and a need for this, or did you just sort of have a good idea which is just sort of mushroomed out of control?
There really was a real need for it. I think what we saw in the market was every real estate agent in the market said, "I'm the best agent because I sell the most property," or "I'm the best agent because I get the best prices." And there was actually nowhere that a consumer could go to validate what they were hearing in the market. And we simply started by crawling information from the web. And we simply just ranked real estate agents based on how many properties they'd sold or their average sale price or the time on market. And it was really just about giving consumers transparency in the marketplace. And when you give consumers transparency, it takes off. And then from there, the real estate agents who were the best agents in the country, they wanted to stand out from everyone else. They wanted to have a platform where they could prove that what they were saying was accurate. Yes, I am a good agent because I do sell the most property in this market, and here is the feedback I get from my customers. So we built a platform that gave consumers transparency, but we also built a platform that gave real estate agents a platform, or sorry, I'll rephrase that, good real estate agents a platform to demonstrate that they were good. And one of the lines we had when I remember in the early days, a real estate agent said to me, I really don't like Rate My Agent. And my comment back, which was a bit tongue-in-cheek but also half serious, was, well, good agents do. Good agents love Rate My Agent. And it was true. Good agents really embraced our platform, and that's one of the reasons it really took off.
So have you seen a market change in the real estate industry as a result of this? Has there been I think often real estate agents get lumped in with used car salesmen, and often recruiters, and we're in as good as the lowest performing. Have you noticed a sort of an improvement in the industry as a whole?
Oh, look, I think we have, and I think the industry's evolved not just because of Rate My Agent. It's evolved across the board, and with underquoting and it's such a visual. Real estate is such a public transaction that, with the internet, it becomes more public. So I think all of these things together have resulted in real estate having to get more professional. It's definitely more professional today than it once was. Once upon a time, a real estate agent would sell a property to a buyer without letting every other buyer know that hey, the property was going to be sold. It's called being gazumped or whatever they call it. But nowadays, an agent can't do that. An agent has to let everyone know and give everyone an opportunity to be involved in a transaction and buy a property if they're interested. So I think that public nature, real estate is a very public transaction. Combining that with the internet that allows public information to spread like wildfire. And Rate My Agent was just a part of that process. It wasn't the catalyst for it. It probably took advantage of the environment that was evolving.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, as Rate My Agent grew as an organization, you would have had to scale your team and grow your businesses that way, and mature your processes. Obviously, scalr as an organization is a talent and advisory business. So I just really wanted to briefly touch on your experiences with all things talent and the challenges you faced when scaling your businesses. So what specific challenges did you face when sort of seeking to grow and optimize your TA strategies?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, with a startup, it's very hard to attract that first, I guess, wave of talent. You're an untested product. You don't necessarily have funding. You can't pay as much as maybe the bigger institutions, whether it's the realestate.coms of the world or the bigger institutions. So you really have to focus on selling the vision of the business. I think that's really, really important. I mean, good employees will come to you because of the vision and the excitement of what that business is planning to deliver. And I think a lot of people want to be a part of that journey. They want to be a part of something exciting. And I think the other thing is, for me, the number one thing, and I still hold this today, about attracting talent, is the company culture. I used to have a saying at Rate My Agent that our culture is not negotiable. Our culture is one where we support each other, where we're transparent, where we care about what we're doing, we care about each other. And I think that was really important to attract really good people to the business.
Fantastic. Now, in your experience, how critical is having a strategic approach to talent operations in achieving business goals?
Look, I think it depends on the role, I think. And again, it depends on the phase of the business that you're in. I mean, my father taught me years ago that businesses outgrow people, and as a business evolves, you need to bring different people into the organization, as it evolves. So the people you bring into the organization in day one, they can absolutely grow with the business, but you're going to find that you need greater area, greater expertise and experience and knowledge to bring to the table. So I think that being really strategic about some of those really important hires, and I think going to people like yourself, talent acquisition specialists, to be able to pinpoint those, I guess they're those foundation pieces within your business, these really core people that join your business that you can build around. And for me, the most important thing was that was getting people that didn't really need to be managed. Really good people. Again, another philosophy I had was good people will tell me what to do. I'm not employing people so I can tell them what to do. It seems counterintuitive. You get a really great skilled developer or a really great skilled marketer or finance or salesperson. I used to say to these guys, don't look at me. I'm listening to you. You tell me what needs to happen. That's why I've employed you. And I think a lot of businesses really fail. They bring people in and they try to mold those people. I think that one of the most important things when employing, really key staff or key people in the business is I wasn't there to employ them so I could tell them what to do. These really important employees, they're experts in their field. And really, I would say to them, you need to tell me what to do, because there's no point me employing someone with all this experience and all this expertise just to have me tell them what my preconceived idea of how they should market the product or how they should build the product or how they should sell the product. You really, for me, it was about employing people that brought that knowledge to the table. And really part of my job was just to get out of the bloody way and clear a path for them. And when they came to me with problems, a part of my job was to, like that game curling, where you mop the bloody thing that's sliding on the ice. That's my job, is just to give them a clear run, because they're experts at what they do. And I think a lot of companies fail. I think they fail to recognize that when you bring in expertise into a business, your job is to let that expertise thrive and grow and evolve within the business.
So would that be your sort of key piece of advice to leaders looking to scale their TA functions? Just kind of identify the people and get out their way?
100%. People thrive in those environments. Again, you've got to identify the right person. So we certainly made mistakes where we brought people into the organization and they didn't feel comfortable taking the initiative and driving forward and sort of backing themselves. They're always looking for someone to give them guidance. And for our business, a young startup, that's not the person we were looking for. So it's really important to identify the person that is maybe a little bit of a risk taker, happy to back themselves. I used to say to the team, mistakes aren't a problem. Mistakes are good. We know that if you run fast and make lots of mistakes, we're learning really, really quickly. So back yourselves. If we make a mistake, let's quickly identify it. Identify the mistake as quickly as we can, address it, and then move forward. But don't fear making mistakes. Back yourself, because you never know what we might achieve.
So fail fast.
Fail fast, yeah, 100%. And it's very hard to find people. It can be very hard to find people who thrive in that environment. But when you find people who thrive in that environment, you can actually evolve really quickly.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now, I'm really keen to move on and learn a little bit about some of the lessons that you've gained along the way. So I'll throw this to you. Maybe there's a strategic insight that you might be able to provide. Maybe one strategy in business you found exceptionally effective. I'd love to learn a bit about that.
Yeah, I think particularly, I'm going to focus on B2B businesses. Rate My Agent is a B2B business, and MyIncentive is a B2B business. And when we started to roll out Rate My Agent, and we're using a very similar strategy now with MyIncentive, we went, I guess, to the top of the funnel, to the front door initially, to the big real estate groups around the country. And we tried to sell in that way from ourselves to the corporate entity. And we learned really quickly that that is a really hard sell. I mean, to get their attention, to try and sell the product to the corporate entity is really, really tough. And then the corporate entity has to try and sell the product to their employees or to their customers. It's a very long process. So we learned really early that, hey, let's get to the end user first. Let's get to the real estate agent. And we built a product that allowed the end user, the real estate agent, to use the product and to learn to love the product. And then it was their job, in a sense, to sell the product up the funnel to their managers or to their corporate entity. And a really good example of that was in the early days, we had a large real estate, a national real estate brand, I won't say who it is, who sent an email around to all of their agents. And the directive was, you're not allowed to use Rate My Agent. This is not an approved product. And so you're not allowed to use it. 6 months later, they sent another email out to all their agents. And that email said, okay, you can use Rate My Agent. The reason was because 60% of all their agents were already using it. We essentially bypassed the corporate entity. The real estate agent said, well, we don't actually care. We like this product. We love using this product. So you should take a look at it because we're using it regardless of whether you think we should use it or not. And then our revenue exploded from there because the agents fell in love with what we were doing. So we use a very similar strategy at MyIncentive. MyIncentive is a employee loyalty program, and we did a little test just here in Cremorne, where I am in my office, and we just gave away free coffees to employees around the streets of Cremorne. We handed out a little card that had a QR code on it. And we said, hey, scan the QR code. We'll give you some points to buy a coffee and add a digital debit card to your digital wallet, and you can buy a coffee. We gave away 100 coffees in 90 minutes, and then we turned it off, and we realised that, okay, great. Employees, the end user of our product, finds it really easy to use. They love using it. So that was a big tick for us, knowing that the end user was really engaged with the product.
Fantastic. Excellent. So get the end user excited first, get their engagement at the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. We used to joke at Rate My Agent that we had a sales team of 15,000 people, 15,000 agents that were using our platform. They're the best sales team out there. The people that are engaged and using your product are without a doubt the best sales team out there.
Fantastic, Mark. Thank you. Now, any other pieces of wisdom or advice that you'd like to sort of impart? Anything that's really sort of been valuable to you throughout your career? Something that maybe someone passed on to you at an early stage that's really sort of rung true with you?
Yeah, I think for me, I've already touched on it, but it's that key piece about culture and giving people the space to grow. I think we see a lot of businesses out there that have a really good idea or a really good product, but they don't give, the organization doesn't give the people within the organization the room to really explore and to grow and to get excited about it. I guess in a sense, they stifle the creativity of the business. Now, again, I'm a startup. The thing about a startup business is you're in uncharted waters every step of the way. That's what a startup is. You're trying to build something new that's never been built before and trying to attack a market potentially that's never been attacked before. So there is no roadmap to that. And when you don't have a roadmap, you've really just got to, for want of a better word, fly by the seat of your pants and encourage that within your culture, embrace that within your culture. I mean, it's a little bit like a football analogy, an AFL football analogy, which I often use. It's, just handball at all costs and move the ball on and keep moving and keep evolving and keep growing. And you don't know what's around the corner until you get there, but you've just got to keep getting to the next corner as quickly as possible. And so I come back to that culture, building a culture where people and teams don't feel threatened by that. They feel comfortable with that. They understand that this is exciting, and they get excited about it. For me, that's the number one thing. I still live and breathe that today with MyIncentive. We're a small team at the moment, but our team knows that, hey, let's just try a whole lot of new things and see what works and see what doesn't work.
So let me just touch on that. So in terms of that culture, because I think that's really, really important. But is that something that you adopted from the beginning, or was that something that you had to learn? You had to learn that was the right sort of approach through sort of failure or some challenges along the way?
I think for me, I didn't learn it. I think it was just innate in the way I operate. I sort of operate that way, and I think. So I'm not sure that initially it was a conscious decision. It was possibly born out of neglect. I'm not a micromanager. The way I am is let's, to me, it's wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy if you micromanage every part of the process. So I think it was. I looking back, there's a lot of clarity on why that was so successful. But looking forward at the time, it was really just probably about me and the way I operated. And I wanted everyone to operate in the same way that I operated.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, finally, I guess every person's journey and entrepreneurial life is different, and it comes with its opportunities, its inspirational moments, its challenges. Has there been any one moment that you could look back on and say, you know, this was a sort of turning point for you in terms of your journey? What made you think that this was the right path for you?
I mean, there was definitely a moment at Rate My Agent when we launched the product and we got 100 reviews in one day, and we thought, wow, that's amazing. We've got 100 reviews in a day. We're really onto something here. And then a couple of months later, we got 500 reviews in a day, and we thought, shit, this is. I think it was, people talk about that organic growth, or particularly in a web business, that viral sort of growth. And I don't think everyone gets to experience it. We really got to experience it really early on with Rate My Agent. It literally, that viral growth and watching reviews come through every 10 minutes and every 5 minutes, and seeing this real engagement from our customer. I think that was the moment for me where the penny dropped, where I thought, wow, okay, we had no idea how we were going to generate revenue from that. we didn't have a payment gateway, we didn't have subscriptions, we didn't have a business model at all. All we had was user engagement. But that was really exciting, that seeing that user engagement. And a similar thing has happened with MyIncentive now. So, I talk about that, giving away 100 coffees in 90 minutes. And everyone I talk to, I tell that little story, because, wow, that's more than a person every minute engaging with the platform and experiencing the platform and falling in love with the platform. And although we're earlier days in MyIncentive, that little spark of people saying, this is awesome, look how great this is, and they ding their phone and they get a coffee, or they pay for their beer at the pub after work, or whatever it is, that little seed, it gives me huge confidence that we're on the right track at Rate My Agent, but we're absolutely on the right track with MyIncentive as well.
It's interesting to hear that, because I think a lot of people that I've talked to have often think everything needs to be perfect for them in terms of their offering, their services, and it's interesting and comforting to hear in a way. And I guess that rate my agent to gain traction, and then you sort of went, okay, shit, we better get the infrastructure behind this to make it successful. It's encouraging for someone as seasoned as yourself, to that is the case. And is it so? I guess, just, is there any final piece of advice or lesson that you'd want to impart to anybody sort of on their journey?
I think that comment about people looking for perfection, there's that old saying, paralysis by analysis. And I think a lot of people, have I ever had a business plan? No, I've never had a business plan. I've had a rough outline in my head about what we want to try and do. And I guess, looking at that broad problem, what problem are we trying to solve? That's sort of your lighthouse, your beacon. With MyIncentive, we really wanted to have seamlessly integrated short and long-term incentives that are really simple to understand and really simple to implement. So I think having that problem and understanding where your end goal is, but the point from the starting point to that point, it doesn't need to be a clear roadmap. It doesn't need to be a clear business plan, because I think a lot of people, try and have this really clear roadmap to how they're going to get there. But what actually happens is you miss all the other opportunities, all the things that you go past as you're, if you're too myopic and too focused on that path, there's lots of other opportunities and lots of things that pass you by. So really got to be aware of what's happening around you and be prepared to pivot. MyIncentive, we're only less than 12 months. We only launched it on August the 1st, or started building the platform on August the 1st. And already it is completely different to what we thought it was going to be on August the 1st. It has evolved in so many different ways. It's evolved in, one of the great little products we had no idea we were going to build is called Office Rewards. Office Rewards are location-based incentives where, an employee, when they come into the office, because of where they're located, they can claim their points because they're in the office. Or there might be a Christmas party, and if you come to the Christmas party, they're geo-locked, the points are geo-locked to a specific location, and you can claim those points when you get to that location. We thought of that idea about 6 weeks ago. We decided that day to build it, and 2 weeks later we launched it. If we had have had a roadmap, a really clear roadmap, we would have missed that opportunity. We would have had, a development team that said, no, we can't build that now because we've already got A, B, C, D on the track, on the roadmap. I think the ability to come up with a new idea, pivot, build it, and get it out the door really quickly and get feedback. For us, that is the number one feature that we've built that everyone is saying, we love that. That's it. But we didn't know we were going to build that on August the 1st. As I said, we only knew we were going to build that 6 weeks ago. And I think it was after having a few beers with the team and saying, I wonder if we could do that. And then Paddy, my CTO, going, yeah, I reckon we could do that. And then, the next day had a little working prototype. Great. I think it's just having that flexibility to continually evolve and grow your business and not be so rigid in what you're trying to build.
Fantastic. That's a great point to finish on. So I guess, just in summary, get the end users excited and engaged ahead of time. Get the product out there. Focus on culture. Give space. Hire the right people and give them space to do their thing. And as you say, don't be afraid to pivot. Be open to new ideas. Don't be too rigid in your approach. I think that's a really valuable one to finish on. So, Mark, thank you so much. I'm really excited to see what's going to come from MyIncentive. Sounds like it's a really exciting platform, and I'm sure it'll be a massive success as well. Really, really great to learn about your journey, and as I said, really comforting from someone who's kind of on the start of the journey to hear about how you've sort of approached things. I think everybody's journey is different, and it's exciting to hear that you don't often have to be so sort of rigid and structured to be a success. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today.
It's absolute pleasure, and I'll just my final little piece on that is, and it's not always easy to do, but enjoy the journey. I can't say that I honestly always enjoy the journey because it can be stressful, but I think enjoying the journey is a big part of it. If you don't enjoy it, then there's probably not a lot of point doing it.
100%. Fantastic. Well, a great way to finish. So thank you all for listening today, and join us next week for another insightful conversation with another leading business mind. If there is an inspirational leader or someone you'd like to hear from, please let me know in the comments. And if you did enjoy today's discussion, please subscribe and share. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Matt.